All right. Okay, here we go, guys. The first question, it's a percent problem. We're trying to find 12 is 15% of what number? If you remember, is over of equals percent over 100. Okay, if you remember, percent over 100. Also, part over the whole equals percent over 100 as well. So let's set it up. 12 is, so that's our is part, of what number? We don't know what it is. And 15% is our percentage. So 15 over 100. That turns into 15x equals 1200, which divide by 15, you get x is what number? 800, did you guys say? 80 or 800? 80. 80. Cool. All right, next one. 13 is what percent of 97? 13 is, so it's 13 over. What percent? We don't know the percent, so that's going to be our x. Percent over 100 of 97. Which then turns out to be 97x equals 1300, which is then what? 13? What is it? 13.4%. By the way, the question was what percent, so we should probably say 13.4% instead of just 13.4. Name the sets that the following belongs to. -5. Is that a real number? Yeah, all the ones we've studied are real numbers. Is that an imaginary number? We've never studied an imaginary number, so that's not any of them. Is it a whole number? No, because it's not 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it an integer? Yes, because it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're opposites. Those are integers. So it's an integer, which is D. Is it natural? No, because that's just the counting numbers. Is it rational? Yeah, we can write it as a fraction, even though right now it's not writing as a fraction. Irrational? No, because we can write it as a fraction. That's why it's not irrational. Yes, sir. Square root 8 is a real number. Pretty much any number we've talked about. We didn't do B. It's not a whole number. It's not an integer. Not rational, because you can't write square root 8 as a fraction. It's a non-terminating, non-repeating decimal, which means you can't write it as a fraction. So it's actually just A and G. 3/9 is actually 1/3, by the way, right? We should write that down on the side. That's real, not imaginary, not a whole, not an integer, not rational. It's just F as rational. And then 0 is A, C, D, not E, because natural numbers don't include 0, but it's F. Okay, next problem. From the first to the second step, we added parentheses. That's the associative property. From the second to the third step, we did 3 times 1/3 and got 1, which that multiplying and getting 1 is special for multiplying. That's the multiplicative inverse. Multiplying times 1 is also special. What happens in this next step is 6 times 1 is 6. That's also special, so it's multiplicative identity. And on this step, two things switch spots, which is the commutative property. And we do -6 plus 6. That is actually a combination of the associative property, because we did that first instead of 3 minus 6. But that's not the big reason why it works. -6 plus 6 is 0. That's the additive inverse. When we get 0 when we're adding and subtracting. 0 is special for adding and subtracting. Then 3 plus 0, that is adding 0 is important for adding additive identity. Okay, and the last two. On number 5, you don't do 5 minus 2 first, because that is adding and subtracting. You want to do the multiplying first. Multiplying before adding and subtracting, by the way. So we distribute. So 5 minus 2x plus 6, that would be the first step that I really need to see from you guys. Okay, that's what I expect. And then And then we combine like terms, the 5 and the 6 combined. So it's negative 2 plus 5 plus 6 is 11. So negative 2. Okay, let's do the next one. So that's the answer. Number 6, we would do distribute the 6 first, negative 6 first. So we write the rest of it, drop the rest of the stuff down like it's hot. So negative 6 times x is negative 6x. Negative 6 times negative 2xy. You just do negative 6 times negative 2, which is positive 12xy. And then we see if we have like terms. The only two things that are like terms are this a guy and that a guy. So those guys combine and we leave the negative 6x. So we're going to just drop that. And we're going to do 5xy plus 12xy. It's going to be 17xy. Any questions?